As the elegant billionaire walked down the corridor of a luxury hospital, he witnessed a shocking scene. A frail cleaning woman was fighting desperately to keep her daughter from the hands of a stranger. In despair, the little girl begged to stay with her mother. In that moment, what the billionaire did would surprise everyone. Michael Anderson stopped short as he walked down the white marble hallway of Mount Sinai Hospital in Manhattan. At 45, he wore a custom-tailored navy suit from Milan, and the Patek Philippe on his wrist gleamed softly under the corridor lights. As the chairman of Apex Construction Group, his steps were always confident, but not now. The sound of a woman's cry and a child's weeping from down the hall had stopped him in his tracks. Normally, he wouldn't pay attention to other people's problems, but there was something desperate, something urgent in those sounds. "Don't take Mia away from me, please." The woman's voice echoed from the end of the hall. Michael hesitated. He had a crucial board meeting at 3 o'clock and couldn't afford to get involved. But his feet moved on their own toward the source of the noise. The scene that met him around the corner froze him in place. An extremely thin woman in a hospital janitor's uniform was kneeling on the floor, clutching a small girl of about 4 tightly in her arms. The woman's face was pale, and her hair was sparse from chemotherapy. Her hands trembled violently, and dark circles shadowed her eyes. A man was trying to pull the child away from her. "Ms. Davis, you can't keep the child here any longer. It's a security issue." "Please, Mia has nowhere else to go," the woman, Sarah Davis, pleaded in a trembling voice. "I'm raising her. Alone, we have no relatives. She's all I have." 4-year-old Mia buried her face in her mother's neck, sobbing. In her small hand, she clutched a worn, crumpled yellow envelope. It was clear the envelope had been folded and unfolded many times, and its edges were torn. "Rules are rules. A minor cannot remain unsupervised within the hospital while her guardian is admitted," the man said, his voice cold and robotic. "And the matter of your medical bills hasn't been resolved." Sarah's shoulders shook even more violently. This is everything we have," she said, pointing to the envelope Mia was holding. Mia sold all her toys, the teddy bear her father gave her, her favorite Legos, her picture books, even her little pink bicycle. Her voice grew choked. "Our neighbors helped too. Mrs. Rodriguez gave us the money she'd been saving, and old Mr. Henderson from downstairs gave us his emergency cash. But," the man glanced at the envelope, "the experimental treatment for acute lymphoblastic leukemia costs at least $200,000. The money you have here, it's not nearly enough." Michael's heart sank when he heard those words. The money a 4-year-old girl had raised by selling everything she held dear, a reality that even that sacrifice couldn't overcome. Suddenly, a long-forgotten memory surfaced in his mind. He was 10 years old, and his mother was suffering from the same disease, worrying about the hospital bills. His father had left home to escape debts after a failed business, and as a young boy there was nothing he could do but watch his mother. She grew weaker without treatment and eventually passed away when he was a freshman in high school. The guilt he had buried deep inside reared its head again. If only he had succeeded sooner. If only he had made money earlier, he could have saved her. "I know," Sarah said, her head bowed, "but I have no other way. All I can do is clean, and now my body won't even let me do that." "Mommy, you can't be sick," 4-year-old Mia said, touching her mother's gaunt cheek with her tiny hand. "I sold all my toys, so you have to get up and not be sick." The child's innocent words felt like a knife twisting in Michael's chest. The man checked his watch. "We're out of time. You need to make a decision. Now either you take the child with you, or we'll have to contact Child Protective Services." "Child Protective Services?" Fear laced Sarah's voice. "Yes. We can't have an unattended minor here. We'll have to place her in a temporary shelter." "No!" Sarah hugged Mia even tighter. "You can't leave Mia alone. I'm all she knows." "But according to regulations—" "Excuse me." Michael stepped forward. All 4 of them turned to look at him, surprised by the appearance of a man in an expensive suit. "I'm sorry, but could you explain what's going on here?" the man asked warily. "Who are you?" "Michael Anderson," he said, pulling out a business card. "Chairman of Apex Construction Group." The man's expression changed completely. Apex was one of the country's leading construction firms, and everyone in the business world knew Michael Anderson's name. "Oh, Mr. Anderson, I'm Robert Clark from the hospital's legal department." He quickly bowed his head in respect. Sarah clutched Mia more protectively at the sudden appearance of a stranger, but there was nothing threatening in his voice. Clark explained the situation. Sarah had worked as a janitor at the hospital for 2.5 years, but was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia a month ago. Her 4-year-old daughter, Mia, had lost her father in an accident when she was 2 and lived alone with her mother. The child had sold her own precious belongings to raise money for the treatment. The experimental treatment is far more effective than standard chemotherapy, but the cost... Clark trailed off. "Besides, we can't have the child staying in the hospital. She disturbs other patients and there are safety concerns." "Disturbs them?" Michael's voice sharpened. "What kind of disturbance could a 4-year-old girl possibly cause?" "The child wanders around the hospital crying, and sometimes she gets near important medical equipment, and..." Clark shuffled through his papers. "If you can't pay the medical bills, we can't extend her stay any longer." Michael looked at Mia. The child was still sniffling in her mother's arms, and through the tattered yellow envelope in her small hand, he could see a few dollar bills and some coins. That was everything this child had, everything she had given up. In that instant, he made a decision. "I'll pay for the treatment." The words silenced the hallway. Sarah stared at Michael, her expression one of disbelief. What did you say?" she asked in a trembling voice. "I'll pay for all of it. Experimental treatment, whatever it takes. I will cover every expense necessary until you make a full recovery." Clark was flustered. That's over $200,000. Are you serious?" Michael knelt to meet 4-year-old Mia's eyes. "Mia, I'm going to help your mommy get better. It's going to be okay." Mia blinked her big eyes at him. "Will my mommy really get better?" "Yes, I'll help her get healthy so she can go home with you." Sarah burst into tears, but her tears were a mixture of joy, doubt, and fear. Why would you help people like us? There must be some condition, right?" Michael was silent for a moment. The memory of his childhood returned again. The last image of his mother looking at him with worry from her hospital bed, and the deep regret and guilt he had carried with him his entire life. "There are no special conditions. He paused. "I just want to help." Just then, Mia suddenly collapsed in her mother's arms. The child's face was pale as she lost consciousness. It was the result of not eating properly for the past week and sleeping in corners of the hospital to stay by her mother's side. Mia, wake up!" Sarah screamed. Michael immediately scooped Mia into his arms. "Get a doctor, right now." The hallway erupted into chaos. Nurses rushed over, and an emergency medical team carried Mia to the ER. Sarah's legs gave out and she sank to the floor. Michael helped her up. "She'll be okay. Mia is going to be okay." Robert Clark still stood there holding his papers, but he was beginning to grasp the gravity of the situation. In his mind, however, a different calculation was already running, how he could use this situation to benefit the hospital and himself. 30 minutes later, the ER doors opened and a doctor emerged. Michael and Sarah were waiting anxiously, while Clark still stood by with his stack of documents. "How is Mia?" Michael asked urgently. "Fortunately, her life is not in danger," said Dr. Evans, a pediatrician, in a reassuring voice. "But she's suffering from severe malnutrition and exhaustion. It seems she hasn't eaten or rested properly for days. She'll need to be admitted for about a week for nutritional support." Sarah let out a deep sigh of relief, but her expression quickly turned to worry. "How much will the hospital stay?" "Don't worry. I told you I'd cover all the costs," Michael said firmly. Clark interjected. "Just a moment, Mr. Anderson. There are a few procedures we need to confirm before that." "What procedures?" "A medical sponsorship of this magnitude involves several legal steps. A sponsorship agreement, consultation with the medical team, and..." Clark gave a meaningful smile. "You'll also need to prepare the tax-related documents." Michael had no time for such complicated procedures. "We'll handle that later. Isn't the important thing right now to start the treatment?" "Of course, but the hospital needs legal protection," Clark said, his eyes glinting with calculation. Michael took out his phone and called his assistant. "Ms. Jenkins, it's me. Contact Chase Bank's main branch immediately and prepare a wire transfer of $200,000 to Mount Sinai Hospital's account. For medical expenses. Yes, right now." After hanging up, he looked at Clark again. "Is the legal issue resolved now?" Clark was taken aback, but quickly composed himself. Well then, I'll immediately connect you with the hospital's top hematology-oncology specialist." "That won't be necessary. I have a doctor I've already looked into," Michael said, making another call. "Dr. Reed, it's Michael Anderson. I have an urgent case. Could you help?" "Yes, a patient with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Are you at Mount Sinai?" "Thank you." Dr. Alan Reed was the nation's top specialist in hematology-oncology. He was also a director of a medical foundation Michael had previously sponsored. "Dr. Reed has agreed to take the case personally. He'll start working on a treatment plan tomorrow morning." Sarah looked incredulous. Is all of this really happening?" Clark began to calculate inwardly how this situation could benefit the hospital and himself. "Mr. Anderson, do you have any plans to inform the media about this?" "The media? Why would I do that?" "In this day and age, a good deed like this can have a positive impact on society. And of course, it would be beneficial for your corporate image." Michael's expression turned cold. "Mr. Clark, what are you trying to do?" "Oh, that's not what I meant," Clark stammered, but Michael had already seen through him. "How is Mia now?" Michael asked the doctor. "She's stable. She's on a nutritional IV drip and should wake up by tomorrow morning." "Then when can Ms. Davis's treatment begin?" "That will be decided after consulting with Dr. Reed, but we can probably start full-scale treatment the day after tomorrow." Sarah cautiously approached Michael. "Mr. Anderson, thank you so much, but what? Why are you helping us?" Sarah's gaze was serious. "Are you really just trying to help, or is there another reason?" Michael was at a loss for words. The truth was, even he couldn't explain the exact reason. I'm not sure myself. I just felt like I had to help." "Could it be?" Sarah asked even more carefully. "That you're trying to comfort your own heart, to alleviate some kind of guilt by helping us?" Her words struck him like a sharp object. They were painfully accurate. "Is that a bad thing?" Michael asked cautiously. "It's not that it's bad, but—" Sarah sighed deeply. "I don't want to be a tool for someone else's atonement, and neither does Mia." Michael was even more taken aback. Even in this desperate situation, this woman was thinking about her own self-worth. "So, are you refusing my help?" "No, I'll accept it. For Mia's sake," Sarah's voice became firm, "but on one condition." "A condition?" "Don't treat me like a charity case, and when this is all over, please make a clean break. We don't want to be a burden in your life." Michael was amazed by her dignity. Despite having a deadly disease and raising a 4-year-old child alone in a desperate situation, she refused to lose her sense of self. "Understood. I'll do as you ask." Listening to their conversation, Clark was inwardly disappointed. He had planned to use this incident for the hospital's publicity, but things were getting complicated. "Well, I'll be on my way then," Clark said, gathering his papers. "I'll contact you again tomorrow when the treatment plan is ready." After Clark left, Michael and Sarah sat in silence outside Mia's room. "Do you have a family, Mr. Anderson?" Sarah asked gently. "No, I'm not married, and my parents passed away a long time ago." "Aren't you lonely?" Michael thought for a moment. "I was so busy working, I never even realized I was lonely." "Why didn't you get married?" "Well, you could say I never had the time. Or maybe—" He paused. "Maybe after losing my mother so early, I was afraid of losing someone again." Sarah sensed something in his answer. "How did your mother—" "My mother had the same disease, leukemia." Michael's voice grew quiet. "Back then, I was too young to do anything." "Oh, so that's why." "Yes. The moment I saw Mia, it reminded me of that time. The helplessness I felt, the despair." Sarah now understood. She understood the real reason this man was helping them. "But this time is different," Michael said firmly. "This time, I can help." The next morning, Mia woke up. At first, she was scared by the unfamiliar hospital room, but she relaxed once she saw her mother beside her. "Mommy, where are we?" "We're at the hospital. It's a place to help you get better because you were sick." "Oh, so you can get better too, Mommy?" Just then, Michael entered the room. He was carrying a doll and picture books he thought Mia would like. "Mia, how are you feeling?" Mia gave Michael a shy smile. "Are you really going to save my mommy?" "Of course. I promised, didn't I?" Mia took the teddy bear Michael offered her. "Is this for me?" "Yes, it's all yours." The little girl hugged the doll tightly, her face beaming. For Mia, who had to sell all her toys, it was the first gift she had received in a long time. Dr. Reed entered the room. "Hello, Ms. Davis. I'm Dr. Alan Reed from the Hematology-Oncology Department." After a detailed examination and consultation, Dr. Reed explained the treatment plan. "Fortunately, we caught it early, and there's a high probability she'll respond well to the experimental treatment. It will require about 6 months of intensive care, but there's a very good chance of a full recovery." Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes. Finally, she could see a glimmer of hope. "We'll begin treatment tomorrow," Dr. Reed said, "but I have one question. Who will take care of Mia during the treatment period?" At that question, Sarah and Michael looked at each other. They had been so focused on the medical bills that they hadn't considered the issue of Mia's care. Just then, Robert Clark appeared at the door with another person. "Hello. We're from Child Protective Services." The situation was getting complicated again. The woman from Child Protective Services, Ms. Peterson, was in her mid-40s and had a calm but firm demeanor. She smiled gently at Mia, but her eyes were sharp. "Hello, Ms. Davis. I'm Ms. Peterson from the New York City Administration for Children's Services." She showed her ID. "I'm here to verify a few things regarding Mia." Sarah's face turned pale. "What? What things?" "We received a report that Mia has been staying at the hospital without a guardian for the past week. It's our duty to ensure the child's safety and welfare." Clark interjected. "Actually, the hospital filed the report. The child was wandering around alone and disturbing other patients," Michael said angrily. "What kind of disturbance could a 4-year-old possibly cause?" Ms. Peterson raised a hand to calm him. "Let's just assess the situation. Ms. Davis, you're currently undergoing treatment, and Mia's father is not in the picture, correct?" "Yes. Mia's dad died in a car accident 2 years ago." "Are there any other relatives or anyone who can help with her care?" Sarah shook her head. It's really just the two of us." Ms. Peterson looked at Michael. "And what is your relationship to them, Mr. Anderson?" "I'm the one sponsoring her medical treatment." "So legally you're a stranger?" The room fell silent. Mia, not understanding the adult conversation, hugged her new teddy bear. Ms. Peterson spoke gently. "We'll monitor the situation for a few days, but if we determine that Mia is not receiving proper care—" "What happens then?" Sarah asked anxiously. "She may have to be temporarily placed in a foster care facility. Of course, it's just a temporary measure. You can be reunited once you've recovered." "No," Sarah cried, pulling Mia close. "You can't take Mia away from me." Mia, sensing the tense atmosphere, burst into tears. "Mummy, why are you crying? What's wrong?" Michael stepped forward. "I'll take care of her." "But legally—" "If legal procedures are necessary, I'll follow them. I'll apply for temporary guardianship or whatever it takes." Ms. Peterson shook her head. "To become a temporary guardian, you have to meet several requirements: a background check, financial verification, a home environment assessment. It takes at least a month." "And what happens to Mia during that month?" "That's why, temporarily—" "Absolutely not." Michael's voice was firm. "I'll get a hotel room and take care of her myself if I have to." Clark chimed in with a smirk. "Mr. Anderson, it's not that simple. There are legal liability issues." Just then, Dr. Reed walked into the room. "What's going on?" I heard shouting from the hallway. When the situation was explained, Dr. Reed's expression grew serious. You're going to separate a child from a patient undergoing treatment. That could have a negative impact on her recovery. But the child's safety? For the child's safety, she should be with her mother, Dr. Reed said firmly. Stress is one of the most harmful things for a leukemia patient. Separating them could drastically reduce the effectiveness of Ms. Davis's treatment. Ms. Peterson looked troubled. Even so, I can't just ignore procedure. Give me 1 week, Michael proposed. I'll complete all the legal procedures within that time. 1 week? Yes. And during that time I will stay here 24/7 and look after Mia. Ms. Peterson and Clark exchanged glances. Finally, Ms. Peterson said, All right, I'll be back in 1 week. If the situation hasn't improved by then. After they left, a heavy silence filled the room. I'm sorry, Sarah said to Michael, for getting you involved in this mess. There's nothing to be sorry for. I'm just doing what's right. From that day on, Michael practically lived at the hospital. He handled company business through his assistant and slept on the pull-out bed next to Mia's. He comforted Mia whenever she was scared and ate meals with her. A few days later, Sarah's treatment began in earnest. Fortunately, she started responding well to the experimental therapy. Her blood test results improved, and a little color returned to her face. Mommy, your face is prettier now, Mia said happily. Sarah smiled a genuine smile for the first time. Now that you say so, I think you're right. Watching them, Michael felt a warmth spread through his chest. He was realizing just how precious this simple happiness was. Mister, can you read me? A book? Mia came over with a picture book. Snow White again. I read that to you yesterday. I like Snow White. It's the most fun when you read it. Michael sat Mia on his lap and began to read. The warmth of the small child's body, the way she listened with rapt attention, her laughter at the funny parts. It was all a new experience for him. Mister, who read books to you when you were little? No one did. I read them by myself. You must have been lonely. Michael was momentarily speechless. The pure empathy of a 4-year-old had struck a deep chord within him. But I'm not lonely now because I have you, Mia. I'm not scared either because I have you. A week passed quickly. Sarah's condition improved noticeably, and Mia had grown completely attached to Michael. They were living like a real family, but the peace didn't last long. A week later, at the appointed time, Ms. Peterson reappeared. This time she wasn't alone. She was accompanied by 2 police officers. Mr. Anderson, what's the status of the temporary guardianship application? All the paperwork has been submitted, but they said the review will take a little longer. In that case, we can't wait any longer. Ms. Peterson approached Mia. Mia, sweetie, how about you come with me to another place for a little while? Mia immediately hid behind Michael. No, I want to stay here. Mia, it's just for a few days. You'll see your mommy again soon. No, I don't want to be away from my mommy. Sarah tried to get out of bed, but she was too weak and staggered. Please, please don't take Mia. I'll do anything. Miss Davis, please calm down. It's only a temporary measure, as the police. Officers tried to take Mia. The child clung to Michael. Mister, help me. I don't want to go. Michael's heart felt like it was being torn apart. Wait, I'll take full legal responsibility if anything happens. That's not possible without going through the proper legal channels. In the end, Mia was forcibly carried away, wailing. Mommy! Mister! Don't let them take me! Sarah screamed as she watched. Mia! Mommy! Mommy will come get you soon! The hospital room fell silent only after the child's cries faded down the hall, but the silence was even more unbearable. Sarah broke down, sobbing with helplessness. I'm a bad mother. That's why Mia... No, you're not. This isn't your fault. But Michael, too, was overcome with despair. He never imagined that a problem he thought money could solve would be this complicated. That night, Sarah's condition took a sharp turn for the worse. The stress caused her blood pressure to spike, and she developed a fever. It's just as Dr. Reed said, a nurse noted with concern. The stress is negatively affecting her treatment. Michael couldn't sleep all night. He couldn't bear thinking about where Mia was, what she was doing, and how scared she must be. At 5 a.m. he made a decision. Legal procedures or not, he had to bring Mia back. Without her, he felt that neither Sarah nor he could go on. But first, there was something he had to do. He had to see Robert Clark. He was becoming certain that the man was behind all of this. Michael went to Robert Clark's office at 6 a.m. Seeing the lights on in the legal department, he knew Clark had come in early. "Mr. Clark, I'm coming in." Clark looked surprised to see Michael. "Oh, Mr. Anderson, so earlier." Why was Mia sent to a foster facility? That was in accordance with legal procedure. Legal procedure. Michael's voice turned icy. "Is that really all it was?" Clark tried to stall by sipping his coffee. "Are you implying there was another reason?" It seemed strange from the beginning. If it were a simple matter of regulations, there would be no reason to make things this complicated. "Mr. Anderson, you're not suspecting me, are you?" Michael glanced at the papers on Clark's desk. One of them caught his eye. "What's this document?" Michael pointed to a file labeled Press Release. "Plan." Clark's face changed drastically. "That's Apex Construction Chairman's heartwarming good deed. The story of saving a mother and daughter with leukemia." Michael read from the document. "Plan to maximize positive hospital image." What is this? That was just an idea. Just an idea. Michael's anger exploded. "You were planning to use Mia and Sarah's suffering for publicity." Clark decided he could no longer hide it. "Mr. Anderson, this was all done with good intentions. If a moving story like this gets out..." "So you deliberately separated Mia from her mother to make it more dramatic?" "That's not it. The legal procedures were genuinely necessary." Michael couldn't listen anymore. "Bring Mia back right now." "But she's already at the facility." "I'll go get her myself. But let's get one thing straight before I do." Michael took a step toward Clark. "If one word of this leaks to the press, I will hold you, Mr. Clark, personally and legally responsible." Clark flinched at Michael's cold gaze. Michael immediately contacted his own legal team. Apex Construction's legal department was top tier, and they assured him they could complete all the necessary legal procedures within 24 hours. "Sir, we've submitted an emergency temporary guardianship petition to the court. The hearing is scheduled for this afternoon. What are the chances of approval? Considering your financial standing and social status, it's almost certain. However what? We need to confirm if there's anything in your background check that could be problematic." Michael hesitated for a moment. There was something in his past he wanted to keep buried, but for Mia, he had to face it. "There are no issues. Proceed." At 2 p.m., the court hearing took place. Michael stood before the judge and honestly stated his intentions. "I genuinely want to help this child and her mother. I will care for Mia as if she were my own daughter until Ms. Davis makes a full recovery. Can you handle the financial burden?" "Yes, I am more than capable." "Do you have any other motives? Business interests? Publicity?" "Absolutely not. In fact, I want to avoid any of that." The judge reviewed the documents and made a decision. Temporary guardianship is granted for a period of 6 months. Michael immediately drove to the foster care facility. Mia was in a room crying by herself. "Mia! Mister!" Mia ran into Michael's arms the moment she saw him. "Mister, I was so scared. How's Mommy?" "Mommy's fine. Let's go back to the hospital now." "Really? They won't take me away again?" "No, they won't. I'm going to protect you from now on." In the car on the way back to the hospital, Mia held Michael's hand tightly, as if afraid he would disappear if she let go. When they arrived at the hospital room, Sarah burst into tears at the sight of Mia. "Mia! My Mia! Mommy, I missed you. I was so scared you'd get sicker." Watching the mother and daughter embrace and cry, Michael's own eyes grew misty. He was realizing again just how precious this simple happiness was. Dr. Reed entered the room. "Mia's return has already improved Ms. Davis's condition. It seems having family together really is the best medicine." "This won't happen again, will it?" Michael asked. "No. Now that you have temporary guardianship, there are no legal issues." From that day on, Michael, Sarah, and Mia lived like a real family. Michael spent every night at the hospital, reading books to Mia and playing with her. Sarah's treatment progressed smoothly, and she gradually regained her health. 2 months passed. Sarah's condition had improved significantly, and Mia had fully adjusted, her bright personality returning. "Mister, can we be a real family?" Mia asked one day out of the blue. "A family? We're already a family." "No, a real family, the kind where you become my daddy." Sarah, flustered, gently chided her. "Mia, you shouldn't say things like that." But Michael didn't mind the idea. In fact, being with this mother and daughter, he felt like he was learning what a real family was for the first time in his life. But something was changing in Mia. The little girl started spending more and more time at the nurse's station computer. The nurses were surprised at how well a 4-year-old could use a computer. "Mia, what are you looking at?" Michael asked one day. "About you." "About me?" "Yeah, I was curious about what kind of person you are." Michael smiled. "What are you curious about? You could just ask me and I'd tell you everything." "When I typed in your company's name, so much stuff came up. You're a really famous person." "Am I? It's nothing that special." But Mia's interest didn't stop there. She continued to search for information about Michael, secretly using the computer when the adults weren't around. A few days later, Mia's expression seemed off. She became quieter than usual, and the way she looked at Michael changed. "Mia, what's wrong? Are you feeling sick?" Sarah asked with concern. "No, it's nothing." But that night, Mia asked Michael an unexpected question. "Mister, did your mother really die from an illness?" Michael looked at Mia, surprised. "Why are you suddenly asking that?" "I was just curious." But there was something more than simple curiosity in Mia's eyes. It was a look that suggested she already knew the answer. A sense of unease began to creep over Michael. What had Mia found out? And could it destroy the happy relationship they had built? That night, Mia sat in front of the computer again. This time she typed in more specific search terms. Michael Anderson mother death, Michael Anderson past, Michael Anderson family. And finally, she found the article she was looking for. It was a small piece in a local newspaper from 15 years ago. The headline read, "Young entrepreneur under fire for refusing mother's medical bills, accused of abandoning family for pride." Mia was deeply shocked as she read the article. The kind man who had helped them had in the past failed to save his own mother. The next day, Mia looked Michael straight in the eye and asked, "Mister, what's the real reason you're helping us?" Mia's question left Michael speechless. He was astonished that a 4-year-old's gaze could be so serious. "I'm not sure what you mean," Michael said with an awkward smile. "Mister, don't lie." Mia's voice was firm. "I know everything." Sensing her daughter's strange mood, Sarah intervened. "Mia, what are you talking about? That's rude to Mr. Anderson." "You don't know, Mommy. A long time ago he—" Mia stopped and looked directly at Michael. "When your mother was dying, was it really because you didn't have money for her treatment?" The air in the hospital room froze. Michael's face went pale, and Sarah looked bewildered, not understanding what was happening. "Mia, you shouldn't say things like that. Apologize to him." But Mia continued to stare at Michael. "I saw it in the newspaper. It said you could have paid for your mother's treatment, but you didn't." "What?" Michael finally spoke. "Mia, that's... Are you helping my mommy because you really want to help? Or," Mia's voice trembled, "is it because you regret what you didn't do for your own mother?" In that moment, all of Michael's defenses crumbled. The question from a 4-year-old girl had struck his deepest wound with perfect accuracy. "Mia!" Sarah exclaimed in shock, trying to stop her daughter, but it was too late. Michael was silent for a long time. Then he finally spoke. "You're right." His voice was barely a whisper. "You're right, Mia." Sarah stared at him in disbelief. "What do you mean, you're right?" Michael covered his face with his hands. I abandoned my mother." "What are you talking about?" "It was 15 years ago," Michael began, his voice trembling. "When my mother was diagnosed with leukemia, my business was already somewhat successful. I was in a position to pay for her treatment." Sarah's face hardened. But I refused. Michael's voice grew quieter, even when she knelt and begged me. Why? Why would you do that? Michael began to unearth a memory he had buried for so long. Even after my father's business failed, my mother always defended him. She let my brother and me go hungry to pay off my father's debts. I hated her for that. Mia listened in silence. I started my company from scratch when I was 25, without any help from my mother or father, but when she got sick, she suddenly came to me. Still, I was angry that the person who never properly cared for me, who always sided with my father, was now asking for help. Tears welled in Michael's eyes. So I refused. I told her to figure it out herself. Sarah was too shocked to speak. My mother, she passed away right after that. A week later, Michael began to sob. She could have lived if I had just said one word. I could have saved her with a little money. Mia spoke quietly. Is that why you're helping us? Yes, Michael nodded. The moment I saw you two, I saw myself from 15 years ago. The thing I should have done back then. Are you trying to feel better by using us? Mia's question was sharp. Michael couldn't answer, because that was the truth. Sarah finally spoke. So, we were just tools for your atonement? That's not it. What do you mean it's not? Sarah's voice rose. I suspected it from the beginning. Why a complete stranger would want to help us. Mia walked up to Michael. Mister, please be honest with me. Are you still helping us just because you feel sorry for us? Michael was silent for a long time, and then he told the truth. At first I was. I wanted to help you to ease my own guilt, he said, looking into Mia's eyes. But it's different now. What's different? Now, you've become truly precious to me. Not because of guilt, but because I've genuinely come to love you. Mia tilted her head. Really? Really? These past 2 months with you have made me realize how lonely I was. And Michael's voice trembled. You've taught me what a real family is. Sarah looked at him with a complicated expression. So, you're being sincere right now? Yes, the beginning may have been wrong, but my feelings now are real. Mia took Michael's hand. Mister, are you really sorry about your mother? I'm so sorry. I've lived with regret my entire life. Then from now on, can you be a truly good person to us? Michael nodded. I want to, but I don't know if you'll accept me. Sarah let out a deep sigh. Mr. Anderson, I'll be honest with you too. Yes. I thought something was strange from the start. I was taught that there's no such thing as a free lunch. Sarah paused. But watching you take care of Mia these past 2 months, I felt your sincerity. Really? Yes. Whatever your initial motive was, I believe you genuinely care for us now. Mia looked up at Michael and said, Mister, from now on, no more lies. To us. I promise. And tell your mother you're sorry too, in your heart. Tears streamed down Michael's face. Thank you, Mia. That night, Michael sat alone in the hospital room, looking at a photo of his mother for a long time. For the first time in 15 years, he felt a sincere desire to apologize. Mom, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, he whispered. I'm trying to be a better person now, not just for Mia and Sarah, but because I truly want to be a good person. From her bed, Sarah watched it all. She felt that Michael had truly changed, that his initial guilt had now transformed into real love. Mr. Anderson, Sarah called out, softly. Yes. Thank you. For being honest. Thank you. For accepting me. But from now on, please be truly sincere. Mia, she's a very pure-hearted child. I understand. I promise. From that day on, the relationship between the three of them changed completely. They were no longer just a benefactor and recipients. They were a real family who knew each other's wounds and had shared the truth. But Mia had another plan. The child knew Michael was sincere now, but at the same time a new worry had sprouted. She was worried that once her mom got better and left the hospital, the mister might leave too. So Mia began to hatch a secret plan. She started looking for a way to make sure he would stay by their side forever. Another month passed. Sarah's treatment was progressing remarkably well. Her blood test results were nearing the normal range, and her hair was slowly starting to grow back. A healthy glow had returned to her face. "Miss Davis, your condition is really improving," Dr. Reed said with a happy expression. "At this rate, you could be discharged within a month." Michael was happy, but at the same time he had mixed feelings. He worried that once Sarah was fully recovered, his role would be over and this warm, family-like relationship would end. But the one who was most worried was Mia. Though only 4, Mia understood the situation more keenly than the adults. "Mister, when Mommy gets better, do we have to go home?" Mia asked quietly one day. "Of course. Home is nice, isn't it?" "Then you won't come anymore?" Michael hesitated. The truth was, he wasn't sure either. "Well, I could probably visit sometimes." "Only sometimes?" "Mia, the mister has work to do too," Sarah gently explained to her daughter. But from that day on, Mia started acting strangely. She would overreact to the slightest cough from her mother, calling for a nurse, or insist that her mum was still sick, even when Sarah said she was fine. "Mommy, you don't look well today. Are you sure you're not still really sick?" "Mia, honey, I'm fine. I'm much better." "No, you're not. I think you're still sick." Michael also noticed Mia's odd behavior. She was claiming her mother was sick more often than usual, telling doctors and nurses that Mommy is still very sick. "Mia, why do you keep saying that?" "Mommy is really getting better," Sarah said with concern. "No, Mommy's still sick." Mia burst into tears. Michael tried to comfort her. "Mia, it's a good thing that your mommy isn't sick. Why are you so upset?" Mia didn't answer and just kept crying. This went on for several more days. Mia would exaggerate her mother's minor symptoms and sometimes even claim symptoms that weren't there. "My mommy had a high fever last night," Mia told a nurse. But Sarah said she hadn't, and the thermometer confirmed she was normal. "My mommy threw up yesterday." But Sarah hadn't thrown up. The medical staff also began to worry about Mia's strange behavior. "Do you think Mia might be under some stress?" a nurse asked Sarah. "The child keeps reporting symptoms that aren't there." Sarah couldn't understand her daughter's behavior either. She was never like this at home. Then one day the truth came out when Dr. Reed was announcing the results of a regular checkup. "Ms. Davis, I have some wonderful news. The cancer cells are almost gone, and all your levels are within the normal range. I think you can be discharged in 2 weeks." Michael and Sarah were overjoyed, but Mia's face fell. "No, Mommy's still sick," Mia suddenly shouted. "She said her head hurt yesterday." Dr. Reed looked at Sarah in surprise. "Did you have a headache yesterday?" "No, not at all." "Then Mia, why did you say that?" Mia started crying even louder. "Mommy's still sick. She needs more treatment." In that moment, Michael understood. He knew why Mia was behaving this way. "Mia, come here," Michael called to her softly. Mia came into Michael's arms, crying. "Mia, can you be honest with me? Why do you keep saying your mommy is still sick?" Mia cried for a long time before saying in a small voice, "I'm scared that you won't come anymore." "What?" "I'm scared that when Mommy gets better, you'll stop coming," Mia said through her tears. "I'm scared without you." Michael's heart ached. This 4-year-old child had been carrying this worry all by herself. Sarah was also shocked. "Mia, is that why you were telling those lies?" "They're not lies. I really think Mommy is still sick," Mia tried to argue, but soon confessed the truth. I just wanted you to keep coming." Michael hugged Mia tightly. "Mia, whether your mommy is sick or not, I'm always going to come." "Really?" "Really, because—" Michael hesitated for a moment before saying, "I'd be scared without you too." "You'd be scared too?" "Of course. You're my family now, Mia, and family always sees each other, even when they're apart." Mia's eyes widened. "A real family. A real family." Sarah was also crying. Mia, why did you worry about that all by yourself? You could have just told me. You said you felt bad for making the mister do so much, so I couldn't tell you. Michael now understood the whole situation. Mia had tried to make sense of the complex adult relationships in her own way, and had tried to solve the problem herself. Mia, I promise you, even after your mommy is discharged, even when you go home, I will come to see you every day. Every day? Well, maybe not every single day, but often, and definitely on the weekends. Do you really promise? I really promise. Dr. Reed smiled as he watched the scene. When I see a family like this, I truly feel that love is the best medicine. From that day on, Mia stopped telling lies. Instead, she would say, I want Mommy to get better quickly so we can go home. Then the mister can come visit us at our house. That night, Michael thought deeply. Through Mia's little lies, he realized how important he had become to this family, and at the same time, he felt once again how precious they were to him. Sarah, Michael said quietly. Yes. Should we start making plans for after you're discharged? What kind of plans? Mia's education, your career, and a plan for how we're going to live as a family, Sarah asked in surprise. Are you really going to keep helping us? It's not about helping, Michael said with a smile. I want to live alongside you like a real family. Mia got up from her bed and ran to Michael. Mister, do you really want to be our family? Of course. Do you? Yes. I want to be a family with you too. In that moment, Michael realized for the first time in his life what true happiness was. It wasn't money or success, but this warm love. But a test awaited their happy times. A new conflict was just around the corner. 2 weeks later, Sarah's discharge date was set. The entire medical team was amazed. Such a rapid recovery was rare. It's truly a miraculous recovery, Dr. Reed said in admiration. It makes me realize once again what a powerful healing effect the love of a family can have. Michael was proud as he watched the happy faces of Sarah and Mia, but he was also lost in complex thoughts. The experiences of the past few months had completely changed him. He hadn't just helped a family, his entire life had been transformed. Mr. Anderson, you seem to have a lot on your mind, Sarah asked gently. Yes, actually, I've been thinking about something. What is it? Michael hesitated for a moment before speaking. I'm thinking of starting a foundation. A foundation? Yes, a foundation to help families in situations like yours and Mia's. Michael's eyes were filled with conviction. I want to share this experience I've had with more people, Sarah asked in surprise. Are you serious? Yes. Not just providing financial support, but also psychological support, educational support, and most importantly, Michael looked at Mia and said, a foundation that helps families stay together. Mia ran up and asked, Mister, are you going to help other Mias too? Of course, we're going to help a lot of children, but establishing the foundation was not as easy as he thought. A few days later, when Michael held a board meeting at his company to announce the plan, he was met with unexpected opposition. Mr. Anderson, are you sure you're not making a hasty decision based on personal feelings? One of the board members expressed concern. It's not an emotional decision, but a desire to fulfill our social responsibility. But running a foundation requires significant funds. You're not planning to use company assets, are you? I plan to use my personal fortune. Despite this, the board members' reactions were cold. Some even suspected that the foundation was just a way for Michael to manage his personal image. A bigger problem emerged from the outside. When news of the foundation's establishment got out, an unexpected person showed up. It was Robert Clark. Mr. Anderson, it's been a while, Clark said, appearing in Michael's office. Mr. Clark, what brings you here? I heard about the foundation. I came because I thought you should be careful. What do you mean? Clark laid out several documents. Establishing a foundation involves tricky legal procedures. And, he smiled meaningfully, your past actions could also be investigated. My past actions? The matter of refusing your mother's medical bills 15 years ago. If that gets out to the press, It could seriously damage the foundation's image. Michael understood Clark's intention. "Are you threatening me?" "It's not a threat, it's advice. Either give up the foundation or—" Clark pulled out another document. "How about forming a partnership with our hospital? Then we can handle all these problems quietly." "A partnership? You send all the foundation's patients to our hospital and we help you. You run the foundation. Of course we'd split the profits." Michael's anger flared. "You're still trying to make money off of sick patients. Be realistic. Running a foundation is complicated. You can't do it alone." "I'm not alone. I'll be doing it with Sarah Davis." Clark scoffed. "Sarah Davis? Do you really think a woman who didn't even graduate from high school can run a foundation?" At that moment, Michael could no longer hold back. "Get out. Right now." "Mr. Anderson, you'll regret this. When this story gets out to the press, then let it. I have nothing to hide, and nothing to be ashamed of." After Clark left, Michael was lost in deep thought. Could he really handle this? Would his past mistakes come back to haunt him? That evening at the hospital, he told Sarah everything. "So you're worried?" Sarah asked. "Yes, I'm afraid my past will harm the foundation." "Michael," Sarah's voice was firm, "it doesn't matter what your past is. Seeing the man you are now is enough." "But I want to help with the foundation too." Michael looked at Sarah in surprise. "Really?" "Yes. The person who best understands the hearts of people like me. Here's someone like me." A week later, a public information session for the foundation was held. Many people from the media and the medical community attended. Michael went up to the podium with a trembling heart. "Hello, I'm Michael Anderson from Apex Construction," he began. "Today I'd like to tell you about the establishment of the Hope's Embrace Foundation." But during the Q&A session, an unexpected attack began. "Mr. Anderson, we've heard that you refused to pay your mother's medical bills 15 years ago. Is that related to the establishment of this foundation?" Michael was momentarily flustered but soon answered, honestly. "Yes, it is." A murmur went through the hall. "I made a huge mistake in the past. I've lived with regret my entire life because of that mistake, and this foundation was born from that experience." "So is this foundation for your own atonement?" "It might have started that way, but it's different now. It's truly for families in need." Just then, Sarah stood up. "Excuse me." All eyes turned to her. She began to speak in a trembling voice. "My name is Sarah Davis. I am someone who received treatment for leukemia with the help of Mr. Anderson." The hall fell silent. "Whatever Mr. Anderson's past is, it doesn't matter to me. What I saw was a man who cared for my 4-year-old daughter as if she were his own and gave hope to me when I was in despair." Sarah's voice gained strength. "You may criticize Mr. Anderson, but I want to ask you, which one of you has genuinely helped people like us? Mr. Anderson is acknowledging his past mistakes and trying to make things right. Do you have the right to criticize a man like that?" The hall grew solemn. "The people who best understand why this foundation is needed are people like me. And the fact that there is someone like Mr. Anderson who genuinely wants to help is a miracle." Sarah, with tears in her eyes, said one last thing. "Please don't judge his present by his past. Look at the man he is now, and think about how much hope this foundation can bring to so many families." When Sarah sat down, the hall erupted in applause. Michael couldn't hold back his tears. That evening, Sarah's speech was widely reported on the news, and public opinion completely shifted. People began to focus on Michael's current actions rather than his past. "Sarah, thank you so much," Michael said sincerely. "It was nothing. I just said what needed to be said." Mia ran up to Michael and hugged him. "Mister, can we really help a lot of people now?" "Of course, Mia. All of us together." The path to establishing the foundation was now clear, but the real work was just beginning. 3 months later, the Hope's Embrace Foundation officially launched. The entire 5th floor of a modern building in Manhattan served as its office. Michael became the chairman and Sarah, the director of the Patient Family Support Team, embarked on a new beginning. "We've already received requests for help from 23 families in the first month," Sarah told Michael, looking at a report. "Far more families are struggling than I thought." Michael's heart grew heavy as he read each family's story. They were desperate situations similar to what he, Mia, and Sarah had experienced. "Can we help all of them?" Michael asked with concern. "This isn't a problem that can be solved with money alone. We need to understand each family's situation accurately and figure out what kind of help they truly need." Sarah's voice carried a depth born from experience. Mia came to the foundation office every day after school to do her homework. Now, 5 years old, Mia could read and do simple math. Most importantly, she had a big heart and wanted to help other children. "Daddy, why is that boy crying?" Mia asked, seeing a 6-year-old boy coming out of the counseling room. "He's sad because his daddy is very sick, Mia." "Then we can help him, like you helped me." Michael was moved by Mia's pure heart. This child didn't take the help she received for granted, but wanted to share it with others. But running the foundation was more complicated than he had imagined. It wasn't just about providing financial support for treatment. There were complex family situations, legal issues, and unexpected conflicts that kept arising. "Mr. Anderson, I'm here about the Johnson family," a foundation staff member urgently sought out Michael. "What's the matter?" "Mr. Johnson took the money for his son's treatment and lost it gambling. The hospital says the bills are unpaid." Michael's expression hardened. "Have you confirmed this?" "Yes, it's been confirmed. What should we do?" This was a situation Michael hadn't anticipated. The desire to help was strong, but there were cases where that help was misused. "I'll discuss it with Sarah." Sarah already had a plan for such cases. "I knew something like this would happen. We need to pay the medical bills directly to the hospital and manage their living expenses separately." And Achi paused. "We need to provide family counseling as well." "Family counseling?" "Yes. It's not just about treating the illness. The entire family needs to become healthy for the help to be truly effective." Michael admired Sarah's wisdom. Based on her own experiences, she could predict the problems other families might face and offer solutions. 2 more months passed. The foundation began to operate more stably. But an unexpected problem arose. Robert Clark reappeared. This time, he wasn't alone. He came to the foundation with several lawyers. "Mr. Anderson, long time no see," Clark said with a cynical smile. "Mr. Clark, what brings you here?" "We've received reports of problems with the foundation's operations." Clark produced a thick file. Tax processing issues, lack of transparency in the use of donations, and, he smiled meaningfully, the issue of Sarah Davis's qualifications. Sarah's face turned pale. "What's wrong?" "With my qualifications. The question is whether a person without a high school diploma is qualified to be a director of a foundation, not to mention a past conviction for identity fraud." Michael was furious. "What are you trying to do?" "Either shut down the foundation or accept the terms we're offering." "What terms?" Clark's true intentions began to surface. "Send all the foundation's patients to our hospital and give us half the control over the foundation's operations. Then we'll make all these problems go away quietly." "That's ridiculous. Think about it. If the foundation closes, what will happen to the families who have been receiving help?" Clark said threateningly. "Children like Mia will be the ones who suffer the most." At that moment, Mia opened the door to the counseling room. Seeing Clark, she hid behind Michael. "Daddy, why is that man here again?" Mia asked in a worried voice. Clark looked at Mia and smiled coldly. "Mia, long time no see. Have you been well?" Mia didn't answer and clung tighter to Michael's leg. "Mr. Clark, get out. Right now." Michael's voice was dangerously low. "Mr. Anderson, don't act emotionally. I'll give you 1 week. Give me your answer by then." After Clark and his lawyers left, a heavy silence fell over the foundation office. "Michael, am I the problem?" Sarah asked, blaming herself. "Absolutely not. Without you, this foundation would be meaningless." But the problem was serious. If Clark's threats became a reality, dozens of families who had been receiving help could all be harmed. That night, Michael couldn't sleep. He agonized over how to protect the foundation, how to protect Mia and Sarah. The next morning, an unexpected phone call came. "Is this Mr. Anderson? I'm from the investigative news program at CBS. "Yes. How can I help you?" "We've received an important tip regarding Robert Clark. Would you be available for an interview?" Michael had a gut feeling. This could be the turning point, but at the same time he was anxious. What was Clark planning? That afternoon, Mia suddenly developed a fever. Sarah went into a panic. "Mia, are you sick?" Sarah worried, placing a hand on her daughter's forehead. "Mummy, my head hurts, and I feel like I'm going to throw up." Michael immediately took Mia to the hospital, but the test results were shocking. "We've found early signs of leukemia." "In Mia," the doctor's words made his world crumble. "That can't be right. Mia was healthy," Sarah said in disbelief. "There could be a genetic factor. We'll need to run more detailed tests to be sure." Michael felt like everything had gone back to square one. If Mia also had the same disease, but something was strange. The timing of the tests was too suspicious. Why did this happen right after Clark's threat? That night, Michael made a crucial decision. He would confront Clark head-on. This time he would not back down. The next morning, Michael went to the CBS studio early. The investigative news team was waiting for him. "Mr. Anderson, first let me tell you about Robert Clark," the producer said, spreading out several documents. "For the past 5 years, this man has been running an organized fraud scheme against hospital patients." Michael looked at the documents in shock. What kind of fraud? "Issuing fake diagnoses, billing for unnecessary treatments, and even extorting money from patients' families," a reporter explained. "He specifically targeted financially struggling families." Michael's face hardened. "So his targeting our foundation was—" "Yes, exactly. His plan was to use the foundation to commit even larger scale fraud." The reporter showed him another file. "But there's something even more shocking." "What is it?" "There's a high probability that Mia's test results were fabricated." Michael shot up from his seat. "What did you say?" "We believe a doctor bribed by Clark created a fake diagnosis to put pressure on you." Rage boiled inside Michael. Clark had used Mia to threaten him. "Do you have solid proof?" "Yes. We have testimony from a hospital insider and a recording." The reporter played the recording, and Clark's voice filled the room. "Fabricate Mia's test results to show suspected leukemia. That's the only way Michael Anderson will listen to us. He can't defy us when his daughter is sick, can he?" Michael clenched his fists. "Is this enough evidence to press charges?" "More than enough. It's scheduled to air on tonight's broadcast." Michael immediately headed to the hospital. He needed to get Mia retested, but this time at a different hospital. The results from the retest at New York Presbyterian were clear. Mia was perfectly healthy. Not only did she not have leukemia, she didn't even have a cold. "She's completely normal. Who told you she had leukemia?" the doctor at New York Presbyterian asked, puzzled. Sarah sighed in relief. "Thank God. I was so worried she would end up like me." Mia didn't fully understand the situation, but she smiled along with her happy parents. "Daddy, I'm not sick?" "No, Mia, you're healthy. Very healthy." That evening, the CBS investigative program aired. Robert Clark's criminal activities were exposed in detail, and the case of Mia's fabricated diagnosis in particular outraged the entire nation. Using a 4-year-old child as a tool for extortion is inhuman. Michael Anderson is an incredible man. To not give in to such vicious threats. Public opinion completely turned. Support for Michael and the Hope's Embrace Foundation poured in, but the biggest change was yet to come. After the broadcast, an unexpected phone call came. "Is this Michael Anderson? This is Eleanor Davis." Michael recognized the name. Sarah's mother-in-law, Mia's grandmother. "Oh, Mrs. Davis, hello. I saw the news. Is it true that they faked Mia being sick?" "Yes, it is. Thankfully, Mia is perfectly healthy." He could hear Eleanor sobbing on the other end of the line. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was a terrible grandmother." "Mrs. Davis, what are you talking about?" "After I fought with Sarah 3 years ago, I never once went to see Mia. Because of my pride," Eleanor's voice trembled. "But when I heard on the news that Mia was sick, my heart just broke." Michael could feel Eleanor's sincerity. "Mrs. Davis, would you like to come see Mia? She misses you too. Really, would that be okay? Can I really come? Of course, your family. The next day, Eleanor visited the foundation office. The moment she saw Mia after 3 years, she burst into tears. Mia! My Mia! Mia was shy at first, but she soon remembered her grandmother. Grandma, it's really you. Mia, Grandma is so sorry. I'm so sorry. Sarah also had mixed feelings seeing her mother-in-law after 3 years. Mom. Sarah, I'm sorry too. I was too harsh back then, Eleanor said, taking Sarah's hand. I can't imagine how hard it must have been for you. That evening, the 4 of them ended up having dinner together. Michael, Sarah, Mia, and Eleanor. It was awkward but warm. Mr. Anderson, thank you so much, Eleanor said sincerely. If it weren't for you, our family would never have been reunited. I'm the one who should be thankful. Meeting this family has been the greatest fortune of my life. Mia suddenly went up to Eleanor and whispered, Grandma, Daddy is a really good person. He became our family. Eleanor smiled and stroked Mia's hair. Yes, you've found a good daddy. On the way home after dinner, Eleanor said, Sarah, I have something to confess. What is it, Mom? The real reason we fought 3 years ago. It wasn't because of my son's debt. Sarah looked at her mother-in-law in surprise. Then what was it? Eleanor sighed deeply. It was because I was jealous of you. Jealous? After my son died, it hurt me that Mia only looked for you. She never looked for her grandma, only her mommy. Eleanor's voice grew quiet. So I said those harsh things on purpose. I was waiting for you to contact me first. Sarah was shocked. Mum, I was a foolish old woman. I didn't see my own granddaughter for 3 years because of my pride. Mia took her grandmother's hand. Grandma, we can see each other every day now. We're all family. Eleanor cried as she hugged Mia. Yes, we're a real family now. That night, Michael thought to himself quietly. Just a year ago, he was alone. He had money and success, but no real family. But now things were different. He had a daughter named Mia, a special person named Sarah, and even a warm grandmother named Eleanor. Most importantly, dozens of families were finding new hope through the Hope's Embrace Foundation. It's truly a miracle, Michael muttered to himself. But the biggest miracle was yet to come. It would happen the very next day. 1 year later, the Hope's Embrace Foundation's first anniversary celebration was held in grand style. Hundreds of people gathered on the great lawn in Central Park. There were families who had been helped by the foundation, medical staff, the media, and volunteers. A large banner hung on the stage. Hope doesn't arrive alone. It comes with love. Michael took the stage wearing a comfortable shirt instead of a suit. He was a completely different man from a year ago. His face was filled with genuine peace and happiness. Hello, I'm Michael Anderson, chairman of the Hope's Embrace Foundation. Warm applause erupted. A year ago, this foundation began with the pure love of a 4-year-old child. The $300 that a little girl named Mia raised by selling her precious toys created the great miracle we see today. The audience looked for Mia and applauded. Now 6 years old, Mia sat between Sarah and Eleanor, waving shyly. Over the past year, our foundation has helped 127 families. We've provided not only medical support, but also psychological counseling, educational support, and most importantly, we've worked to help families stay together. Photos of various families appeared on the screen next to the stage. They were all smiling happily. The Miller family has finished the father's cancer treatment and is now planning a family trip. The Chen family's mother has been declared cancer-free, and their daughter Lily is practicing hard to become the ballerina she's always dreamed of being. After the grandfather's treatment ended, the Rodriguez family opened a small cafe together and started a new life. With each story, the audience gave emotional applause. But the real reason all of this was possible is something else. Michael's voice began to tremble. It's because we realized the true meaning of family. He looked at Sarah, sitting in the front row. Sarah Davis is not just a director at our foundation. She is a teacher who taught me the strength to not lose one's self-worth even in despair, and the warmth to understand the pain of others. Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes. Eleanor Davis showed us what true love is by letting go of her pride, with the courage to endure 3 years of separation and return to her family's embrace. Eleanor wiped her tears with a handkerchief. And Mia? Michael smiled as he looked at Mia. This child at the age of 4 is the greatest teacher who taught me what true love is, what family is. Mia stood up and ran onto the stage. Michael lifted her into his arms. Daddy, can I say something too? The audience laughed and clapped. Of course, Mia. Mia spoke into the microphone in a clear voice. Hello, I'm Mia Anderson. The audience cheered. Mia had now been formally adopted by Michael and had taken his last name. I was really scared when my mummy was sick, but then Daddy came and helped us, and now I'm really happy. The audience was moved by Mia's pure words. I hope all the daddies and mummies here can be happy like us. And Mia paused for a moment. Daddy, I love you. Michael hugged Mia tightly, tears streaming down his face. I love you too, Mia. After the event, the family had a quiet evening to themselves. Michael, Sarah, Mia and Eleanor walked through Hudson River Park together. Thinking about a year ago, it all feels like a dream, Sarah said. Back then there was only despair. It still feels like a dream to me, Michael replied. I never thought this kind of happiness would come to me. Mia walked between Michael and Sarah, holding each of their hands. We're a real family, right? Of course, the most special family in the world, Michael answered. Eleanor, walking behind them, said, Michael, thank you so much for bringing our family back together. I'm the one who should be thankful, Eleanor, for teaching me what a real family is. As they sat on a bench looking out at the river, Mia suddenly said, Daddy, do you think the other families we helped are as happy as we are? Of course, Mia. They'll all be happy. I hope so. I wish everyone could be with their family. In that moment, Michael had a profound realization. True salvation wasn't just saving one person. It was when that salvation was passed on to others. A few days later, Michael visited his mother's grave. For the first time in 15 years, his heart was at peace. Mum, have I finally become a son you can be proud of? The flowers placed before the headstone swayed in the wind. I have a daughter named Mia, and a very special person named Sarah, and a new mother named Eleanor. Michael caressed the headstone and said, I'm living my life giving others the love you couldn't receive, and in return, I'm receiving a love even greater than yours. He took out a drawing Mia had made from his bag. It was a picture of 4 people holding hands and smiling. Mia drew this for her grandma. She said to ask you to watch over us from heaven. As he was about to stand up after placing the drawing in front of the headstone, he heard Mia's voice from behind him. Daddy! He turned to see Sarah, Mia and Eleanor had come together. How did you get here? We thought you'd be lonely coming by yourself, Mia answered innocently. As the 4 of them stood together before his mother's grave, Michael felt like everything was complete. Mum, this is my family, Michael introduced them. Mia bowed deeply before the headstone. Hello, Grandma, I'm Mia. I'll take good care of Daddy. Sarah and Eleanor also bowed respectfully. That evening, the 4 of them had dinner together back home. It was a simple, home-cooked meal, but it tasted better than any fancy cuisine. Daddy, what are we doing tomorrow? Mia asked. Tomorrow, let's go to the foundation to meet the new families. Do you want to come and play with the other kids? Okay, I want to help other kids too, Sarah smiled. Mia has really grown up now. She wants to help others. Eleanor stroked Mia's hair. Our Mia was always a kind child, just like her mum and dad. In that moment, Michael felt perfect happiness. He no longer had guilt about the past or fear of the future. Just being here with these people was enough. Outside, the first snow of the season began to fall. December in New York was still cold, but inside this small home, it was the warmest place in the world. Mia went to the window and watched the snow. Wow, it's snowing. Daddy, you said wishes come true when it snows, right? Did I? Then what are you going to wish for, Mia? Mia thought for a moment and then said, I wish we could always be this happy. And Mia thought of the other children she had met at the foundation. I wish all the daddies and mummies wouldn't get sick, and all the kids could be with their families. Michael realized in that moment that a true miracle wasn't a single act of salvation, but the continuous passing of that salvation to others. Mia, that wish will definitely come true. We'll make it come true together. Really? Really. I promise. As the night deepened, the snow fell more heavily, but the hearts of the four people grew even warmer. As Sarah washed the dishes, she said to Michael, "Michael, honey." They now called each other family. Meeting you a year ago was truly a miracle. The same goes for me. If I hadn't met you and Mia, I would have lived my whole life with an empty heart. We're really happy, aren't we? Yes, we really are. Mia was dozing off on Eleanor's lap. The grandmother smiled fondly at her granddaughter. "Time for bed, sweetie?" Eleanor picked Mia up and carried her to her room. Michael and Sarah sat in the living room drinking tea and talking quietly. "I think the foundation will grow even bigger next year," Sarah said. "I think so too. We'll be able to help even more families." "But the most important thing is our family," Sarah said, taking Michael's hand. "We have to be happy to be able to help others be happy." "You're right. Our happiness becomes other people's hope." As they held hands and watched the snow outside, Mia came out of her room and snuggled between them. "I can't sleep. Can I stay with you?" "Of course, our Mia." The three of them sat on the sofa, hugging each other and watching the snowy night. "Daddy, Mommy, I love you." "We love you too, Mia." In that moment, Michael experienced the most perfect moment of his life. It was the happiness that came not from money or fame, but from true love. There really were angels without wings in the world, angels who appeared in a janitor's uniform, holding a crumpled envelope, and holding the hand of a 4-year-old daughter. And sometimes even a man in a suit with a cold heart could meet those angels and become truly human. Michael now understood perfectly that a single encounter, a single choice, could not only save a life, but also change the temperature of the world. The snow continued to fall, and the three people in the small house held each other tightly, engraving this unforgettable moment in their hearts. It was a night when they realized what true family, true love, and true hope really were.